I come from a background of spending the first 12 years of my career at two major wirehouse firms, UBS and Morgan Stanley. Made that leap of faith in the October of 2012, launched a firm with my two other partners, originally managing about $200 million in assets, and kind of fast forward to where we are today, we're managing about $4.2 billion in assets. And what we've done is we've grown this firm from a small, very boutique-y asset management firm to a holistic family office services type of firm where we do everything from investment, financial planning, all the way to tax preparation and planning as well. So it's like the entire kind of holistic circle of wealth management, if you call it. What's happening in the NIL and collegiate athletes, think about the last 4 years, we've seen rapid changes. So think about it as pre-2021, you had college athletes essentially being amateurs. So post-2021, it's basically professional athletes now. And really what we're talking about is, for the most part, college football and college basketball. Now, again, some schools, some of the other athletes in terms of gymnastics and softball and baseball, depending upon the school, but for the most part, you're talking about college football, college basketball players being professional athletes. And what's transpired is that you've seen NIL come in. An original form of NIL was to allow an athlete the ability to market themselves, to go to a restaurant, to go to a car dealership and say, I can market you as saying I buy my Ford truck from here, or I enjoy my pizza from this restaurant. Pay me $10,000 or X amount of money, and I'm going to promote you on social media. That was the original intent of NIL. But through many creative ways of expanding it, the alumni and the schools figured out a way to create these collectives, raise a ton of money, and be able to go out to these athletes and distribute this wealth as part of a recruiting mechanism. Now, what has happened over the last 4 years is that it's also led to the settlement with the NCAA, which finally got settled several months ago, and effective 3 months ago, now you have what we call revenue share. And now revenue shares come in, so now you got the Power Four conferences distributing over $20 million to these athletes. So you got now athletes that are making 3, 4, 5 million at the age of 19, 20 years old, all the way as low as maybe 100, 200,000. So back to your question, how is it changing the landscape of wealth management? Like a firm like us, our typical client is between the age, let's say 50 to 70. And through all the different organic ways of how we grow our business, they're typically size clients of 5, 10 million. So why are we speaking to the athlete that is 19 years old with $500,000? Well, because they're 19 years old and they got now $500,000. And the chances of them going pro, let's say it's only 1%. That's okay. They're 19 years old with $500,000, $600,000. We're educating them. We're teaching them the concept of compounding interest, building their wealth. And even if they don't earn another penny, that $500,000 over the next 30 years, by the time they're in their 50s, is going to be a substantial amount of money. So our target really is those collegiate athletes, to educate them, work with their parents, families, build their plan, build their trust, help them with their tax planning. And that's really why we believe that this whole NIL and revenue share is creating a lot of opportunity in the space for independent fiduciary advisors to speak to these athletes. Think about the firm's been around now for 13 years. We custody assets with Charles Schwab and Fidelity. These clients that we work with are, again, generally in that older type of a category. We love them. We work with them. We have a very unique way in how we manage money. We've got in-house model portfolios. We use option strategies. Again, family office services, tax, and so forth. Why would we be interested in that younger client? What are we doing about it? So yes, we're interested. What are we doing about it is above and beyond the athlete type of clients. We are looking at partnering with firms like Robinhood Trade PMR. We're very interested in that. We see what Robinhood is doing in that space. We see the fact that they have now clients that have matured over the past 4 or 5 years. They're working with other type of advisory firms that are out there. And we want to be part of that as well. We want these clients that are in their 20s. Think about trillions of dollars that are going to get passed down to this generation over the next 10 to 15 years. And we believe that these clients today that are in their 20s, when they are in their 30s and they no longer have 250,000, but they have 2.5 million, 5 million, 10 million, they're wanting to work with advisor firms that understand a more progressive way of thinking and how to look at things in a little bit different light than the typical old type of firms that have been out there for a long time. It's a digital world, right? I mean, think about the clients that are, the investors that are in their 20s. You're not going to find them in a typical networking event mixer, cocktail type of mixer. You're not going to call them. It has to be via social media. It has to be through custodian relationships that kind of understand their methodology of how they're looking to work with them. So think about, again, a Robinhood and a Trade PMR where the investor is going direct digitally. We're looking at it the same exact ways. How do we communicate with that type of a client in a more social media type of platform to engage with them, build that relationship, and then ultimately show them that we're embracing technology in our relationship with them as well. We have a saying at our firm, we say, if you're not evolving, you're dissolving. So the industry is constantly changing over time, right? And I've been doing this for 26 years. And the way we're doing things today is very different than, 26 years ago, also 5 years ago. So things have changed, right? And constantly things are evolving. So if we don't evolve, we're going to dissolve. So our advisors have to understand, again, how we communicate with the client, how we embrace the technology, how we have to embrace AI is an absolute must at a firm like ours. So for us, all of our advisors embraced it. We use AI now, and we believe we're probably using only 5% of the AI that's out there. We're looking at bringing on a director of AI to our firm that can put all the pieces together and connect it so that we have more scalability. And again, ultimately it comes back to how do we create a better opportunity for our clients to work with us in terms of communication, investing, scale, and everything we're looking for across the board. And we believe we're big believers in AI at our firm. So again, I'll go back to saying, if you're not evolving, you're dissolving. At the end of the day, there's a lot of information out there. So we see that also as there's a plus and a minus to that. When we talk about AI, we're not the only people that have access to AI. So does the investor, so does the client. So there's a lot of information out there that they're also getting, and they're bringing it back to us. So we have to constantly be on the cutting edge of knowing what's going on in the industry. So the pain points for us is there used to be a time where information was limited and the advisors seemed to have all the answers for everything, or most of the answers. Right? They were able to go get that answer. The investors now are very knowledgeable. They can do their own research. They can do some of their own findings and see things that are out there. So we have to make sure that we're available to them to provide that information. So I would say that's probably more of an internal thing. From an operational standpoint, again, for a firm like us, and I'm guessing most firms out there, if you want to have scale, understanding the fact that you have good people at your firm, how do you embrace that technology? So you're not replacing people, but having that technology create more capacity and having that person no longer need to spend 3 hours on a specific task and cut that down to 3 minutes, let's say. And now what do they do with the other 2+ hours, almost 3 hours of their time? Can we get them to have more value to the firm in other areas that maybe they were not used to doing before? That's really what we're looking at overall. I think ultimately it comes down to holistic, comprehensive wealth management. So what we have found is, again, think about even next generation clients, right? These next generation clients, they don't want to work with wealth advisor here, accountant there, attorney here, an insurance person over here. What they want is a simple solution. They want one place where they go. Now, again, I don't have to be the insurance expert, right? I'm a partner with that type of person. And you don't even have to be a firm that has necessarily tax solutions in-house, although a firm like us does, and we provide that solution, so we make it a lot more scalable. But we believe the evolution of our industry is providing as many of these solutions in-house. And then the ones that are maybe a little bit outside the box, partnering up with those right firms, now you bring that holistic experience to the table, right? So, for example, at Steel Peak, for us, we have a division for tax. We got 29 accountants, CPAs on staff. We have our investment division. We have our insurance division. We have our estate planning division. We have our alternative investments. So we built this because we see where this is headed in 3, 5, 10+ years from now. A client that is in their 60s that already has a relationship with their CPA, probably not going to make a change. But the client that's in their 20s or 30s that is just emerging now has some money to invest and is going to inherit quite a bit of money over the next 7 years. We stand by the fact that they're not going to want to work with 5, 7 different advisors. They want it holistic under one umbrella.